Good morning, everyone. My name is Miguel Morel. I'm the founder and CEO of Arkham Intelligence. So today we're going to be talking about trading with intelligence. Obviously, trading, one of the main use cases of crypto, super important. And we're going to be talking a little bit about on-chain analytics, AI, and the future of crypto trading. So the presentation today is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about some of the background for Arkham, why we created it, and why we've built the product in the way that we've done it. So we'll start by talking a little bit about our vision when founding the company and sort of some of our beliefs about the industry, how we got here, so the things we've built to realize that vision, and then we'll talk a little bit about the future and where we're intending to take the product. So where did we start? When we first founded Arkham, we had to take a really hard look about what we actually believed about crypto and the industry and where we felt like the industry was going to go. And this was based off a bunch of foundational principles, which we're going to review today. The first thing that Arkham is founded on is that de-anonymization is destiny. So in the early days of the internet, everyone was pseudonymous. Now people use their real identity online. This same process is happening in crypto. Soon, blockchain and real-world identities will be linked. The second principle that Arkham is founded on is that access to crypto data will be decentralized. So one of the key differences between the cryptocurrency industry and traditional finance is that in traditional finance, data is hidden inside of black boxes. In crypto, this transaction data is actually available to everyone. But existing tools are actually limited to a select few hedge funds and other industry players who actually have access to the information and have the capital to actually buy it. Whereas in crypto, everyone can get access to it. The third point is that crypto is becoming a core part of the global financial system. Otherwise, we wouldn't have built the company. We believe that crypto will reach mass global adoption because it is a more efficient and reliable way of transferring funds. Next, we have that crypto intelligence will be widely adopted. So in a world where crypto is used by everyone and it ends up replacing the traditional financial system, data will become the lifeblood about how people make decisions within the industry. This means that it will become a large part of the economy. In traditional finance, intelligence, such as terminals such as Bloomberg, is an incredibly large industry of over $100 billion. And we make a prediction here that it will become at least a major fraction of that. The next point is that the future of crypto data is entity-based. When I first got into the industry, a lot of the primitive tools for crypto data and intelligence were based on addresses. So you would search for an address, you could look at what transactions that address was making, who they were sending funds to, et cetera, but you didn't necessarily know who that address actually belonged to. So you don't know the person behind the transaction or the institution behind the transaction. It was only based on the address itself. Arkham has changed this by creating a platform where you search for people and companies rather than addresses themselves. And then the last point is that crypto intelligence will actually power self-regulation. So in an industry that has kind of been known for having a number of bad actors, it's incredibly important before government or other kinds of external regulators to come in and do their investigations about what's going on, for people to be able to take these matters into their own hands and using on-chain analytics and intelligence, be able to self-police and self-regulate what actually happens in our industry. So what is it that Arkham has and what is it that we actually do? So as mentioned before, we've kind of taken all of this on-chain information and we've actually labeled it with the names of the entities behind the addresses. To put some numbers behind it, we have 1.9 billion blockchain addresses labeled. I think this is a little bit outdated. We're well over 2 billion at this point. 78% of all on-chain volume, we have an attribution for either the sender or the receiver. So once you actually send a transaction on chain, for 78% of all of the dollars that have moved across the blockchains that we support, we will know either who the person who sent the transaction is or who the person receiving it is. And this amounts to about $385 trillion of asset flow. Now, how is it that we actually do this? So Some of the back-end information for the Arkham Intelligence Platform is actually related to data mining and collection. So this is the process by which we can actually take the information that we find on the different blockchains that we support, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Tron, you name it. We take that info and combine it with information that's actually off-chain as well. And then using a variety of different data science and machine learning techniques and heuristics, we then classify those addresses into different entities. So for any given set of addresses, we attempt to predict which addresses are actually owned by the same person or the same company prior to us actually addressing who that person or entity actually is. So we at least can determine that one set of addresses belongs to one set of people versus another. And then the next step after that is then actually identifying who those clusters of addresses actually belong to. And then we show all of this information in a single platform where people can go on and across many different chains actually query our database of people and of companies and search for all of their transactions and activity. So how has this product evolved? So given that we started out with all of this technology for being able to acquire data and information, and then actually process it using all of these sophisticated techniques, how is it that we've actually created a better product and actually evolved what we've built? Well, firstly, when we first launched Arkham, all of the information started purely on-chain. We would only analyze and surface information on our platform where that information came from a blockchain. It came from looking at the addresses and transactions that are happening on a given network. Now we've actually evolved the product such that people are able to look at this information, but in addition to that, be able to look at all kinds of other things that are happening in the industry, because now, for example, there's plenty of information that people are interested in that lives on exchanges rather than a blockchain. Next, we've taken this database of profiles, and we've actually turned it into a platform that has significantly more intelligence tooling. So rather than just looking at information on an individual level for an entity, we've managed to be able to zoom out and actually aggregate this info for people to see a lot of the underlying trends. We've gone from having a standard platform that looks the same for everyone, regardless of what the use case is, to now allowing significantly more customization. So many different people's version of Arkham, they all look different. And instead of just using artificial intelligence for our backend, so that means using it for taking in labels and then actually identifying the people behind it, we are now starting to surface some of this artificial intelligence within the actual UI as well. And then lastly, we've gone from having a product that is used mostly by on-chain analysts and investigators to something that has been used by a variety of different people for a ton of different use cases other than just investigations. So let's go through some examples of how we actually do this. The first is combining the on and off-chain information. So very frequently when there are market movements, these market movements are due to sell pressure, they're due to buying pressure, they're made up of actions that people are taking with the different assets that they actually hold. But these assets don't just exist on the exchanges where they're being traded, they actually exist on chain. And so what we've tried to do is actually combine the information of what's going on these different venues where people are actually trading these cryptocurrencies, and then matching them to the movements that we've managed to track on chain, and then surface them on a single dashboard. So within a single dashboard, being able to see all of the information of what's going on chain for an asset, and how that actually relates to different kinds of market movements on different venues as well. We've looked at additional forms of customization. So within Arkham, people can actually come on, create their own types of dashboards that are relevant specifically to them and to their use case. So this has a variety of different functions ranging from labels. For example, I mentioned earlier that we have 75% plus of volume attributed, but that still means that we don't know where 1/4 of the money is. But if you do, then you can come onto our platform and actually create your own labels, which are viewable only by you, whereby you can label all of this information and surface it exclusively on your version of the platform. And then this actually isn't just true for labels, but it's also true for different types of alerts and also dashboards. So you don't necessarily have to rely on the information that we create or the types of products or features that we feel are important. You can actually do this on your own as well. In addition to this, we've taken not just the profiles and different entities that we've created for people to run searches, but we've also created a large set of features beyond that list of people. So for example, our visualizer or tracer features means that we have a much broader suite by which you can actually view the information. List form is not the only way to be able to try to understand something. There are different ways of expressing these transactions of people moving money from one place to another that don't necessarily involve something looking like an Excel sheet of addresses, but rather can create something more beautiful and easy to understand for the people actually looking at these different types of information. So now we'll talk a little bit about surfacing AI within the UI. So before I mentioned that we were using a lot of this type of machine learning in order to actually create the labels themselves. But now with the rise of LLMs and other types of powerful artificial intelligence tools, we can actually help people try to understand the information that they're looking at a lot better. So many people, if they're looking at a block explorer or they're looking at some piece of information within Arkham, even if they know what they're looking for, that doesn't mean they necessarily know what they're looking at. So if somebody's looking at a DEX transaction or a Bitcoin transaction or something that's too complicated for them to figure out what's actually going on underneath the surface, we've now launched a variety of different tools where people can instead use artificial intelligence to, in natural language, explain to them what's going on with a particular transaction and the types of impact that it could have within the market. And last but not least, from all of these different use cases, we've seen a unification of the types of users who have actually come to our platform and what they're looking for. And given that the overwhelming majority of them are actually traders or people who own cryptocurrency or are looking to speculate on cryptocurrency, we've given them a safe venue whereby they can actually use the intelligence and analytics within the Arkham Intelligence platform to then actually place their own trades. So this means we've actually created a spot and perp exchange, full service, where people can come on, deposit their cryptocurrency, and trade, and do this all within the same platform where they're doing their research and their analytics as well. So what actually comes next for Arkham? What is the next kind of feature set or interesting piece of product that we're looking to create? And this is where the Arkham Insights product comes in. So what we're looking to do next is taking this whole suite of products and information that we've managed to build off of over the past several years and actually create something whereby users no longer have to kind of dig and search through different types of blockchain information in order to surface the things that are relevant to them. But rather, taking a product that we've created, whereby using artificial intelligence, we're able to surface these things that are relevant to the user without them needing to search for it. And this is where the Insights product comes in. So what does the Insights product actually do? It tailors analysis of different types of flows, transaction patterns, OI, funding flips, sentiment spikes, headlines, etc. And it can actually show you this information of what's going on chain and how it relates to the market directly on one page without you needing to search for anything at all. It can identify material market events that are happening in the news and how it relates to crypto for all of your favorite coins. It can filter for you. It can find different types of tokens, timeframes, or entities that might be relevant to your particular trading strategies or research and analysis. And most of all, it can do attributions for different types of underlying sources of information. So rather than just you relying on your own type of data or the things that we surface, you could use the Arkham Insights product in order to find information that's relevant for the addresses that you care about in particular. So what comes next? What happens next is July 7th, we'll be announcing the Arkham Insights product going live, which you'll find on our Twitter, and I welcome you all to try the new features. We'll be adding additional data sources through different partnerships with top players in different fields, obviously across different chains, now that there's so many people who are interested in different types of networks. We'll be personalizing insights for each user tailored to their holdings, on-chain activity, and trading profile. And lastly, we'll be embedding insights directly within the Arkham Exchange UI in order to support faster intelligence-informed execution. Thank you all very much.